Good morning and greetings from beautiful and sunny Alberta. I hope this video finds you well and you're having a wonderful start to a hopefully beautiful weekend. I've been following closely the trials of the Freedom Convoy organizers, Tamara, Lich, and Chris Barber. And they were just recently back in court in Ottawa this week for sentencing, which I believe has been pushed back. And it's just an example of the travesty of justice in Canada, the two-tiered policing that we all see. And being an unvaccinated person and knowing that when we were surrounded by the public hatred and the segregation and everything that we all faced, the propaganda on TV, I remember that feeling of seeing those trucks starting to roll across the country. And it gave millions of us hope when it looked like there wasn't any. And the way the media and the government portrayed these people as racist and violent and all the things that just weren't true. Any of us who actually watched the footage from the convoy, not the media, but people on the ground with cameras and phones, we saw how peaceful it was, how loving. They were cleaning up. They were feeding the homeless. They were shoveling snow, taking care of the monuments. I mean, if you have a protest of 100,000 people at various times, of course there's going to be a couple problems. But you can't deem the entire crowd, the entire people, everyone along the highways and bridges and overpasses all across Canada. You can't hold them accountable for the actions of a few idiots at a protest. And I remember that they made a big deal about the one guy with the swastika flag. And that was the main focus. And then they deemed everybody racist. And I can tell and see the two-tiered justice with my own eyes, because we've had, 18 months of pro-Palestinian protests in Canada. And a lot of those signs, a lot of those images, those people had swastikas on their protest signs. There was even a story where I believe a bunch of protesters went to like a little kid's baseball game in Toronto, and one of the signs had a swastika. And I it's thousands of years of history. These people have been battling each other for longer than Canada's been a country. So I can't even tell you who's right or wrong at this point. But I can see the double standard and the two-tiered justice when we see swastikas across the country at these pro-Palestinian protests, threatening Jewish people, threatening Jewish neighborhoods, and nobody says anything. The media doesn't say anything. But you have one jackass at a protest, and that's what the media focuses on, So when, like, any of us can go on the internet and see what various crimes in Canada, what sort of repercussions they face, years in jail, whatever. And there's lots of stories of people who SA other Canadians, and they get 3 to 5 years. Manslaughter, 5-6 years. And now we have organizers of a protest who simply were tired of the segregation, tired of the government forcing drugs into people under multiple threats, like unemployment, losing your job, losing your home, losing the ability to feed your kids. This can freak people out pretty good. So it's just, it hurts my heart to see how unjust Canada is. I mean, the Crown, which technically in this situation is the Ontario government, Doug Ford's government, are the ones that are asking for 7 years of prison for Tamara Lich and 8 years of prison for Chris Barber, plus the confiscation of his truck, his rig, to crush it. All these people simply wanted was for the government to speak to them to end the mandates of forcing drugs into people. And it's just absolutely outrageous. And don't think that we're not seeing it out here in the West. I believe Chris Barber's from Saskatchewan. Tamara Lich is from down south in Alberta. Do you think if these people get convicted and actually face jail time, and Tamara Lich was already in jail for 49, 50 days, it should be time served, it's over. Mischief charge. These people are being hounded and hunted 7 and 8 years in jail for mischief charges. This is like political prosecution. They embarrass the government. The politicians will go outside. The police will go outside. They will kneel to Black Lives Matter protesters who are breaking windows and tearing down statues, who are being violent and aggressive, but they wouldn't walk 300 feet outside of their offices in Ottawa to talk to peaceful protesters with bouncy castles in it who are playing street hockey. This is where we're at in Canada. So believe me, my friends, that if Chris and Tamara actually face lengthy jail time, people out here are not going to like this. And it's only going to rile people up further. And where it goes from there, I don't know. But if we're throwing peaceful protesters in jail when the government lied about the police asking for the Emergency Act, lied about their behaviors on the streets of Ottawa, lied about weapons and vehicles that were never found, just to demonize these people because they embarrassed the government, we all know. We all saw it. So I hope there is a groundswell of support for Tamara Lich and Chris Barber in a peaceful manner, of course. And if things go sideways, don't be surprised if folks in the West get very upset, more upset. And that would further alienate us and push more people towards Western independence. And we'll take that as it may come. So I just wanted to touch base. Hope you're having a lovely weekend. And this is something that should not be ignored. The Charter of Rights is not worth the paper it's written on. And we all know now. And much more violent and dangerous people are allowed onto our streets to further harm Canadians. So this is not the kind of country I wish to belong to. It's sad to say, but true. But stay posted for further info, and you folks take care and have a great day.